Hey everybody, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Abhay and I am software engineer by profession. In this YouTube channel, I teach Java, object-oriented programming and other concepts revolving around these topics. So in this video, we'll be creating another project called Project Mirzapur. This is going to be an interesting video. So this video or this project is inspired by the Indian web series called Mirzapur, which is recently released. The new season is recently released. So if you haven't already watched it, then you can still continue with the video. But if you have already watched it, then this one is for you. So the concepts that we'll be covering in this video is inheritance, methods in Java, getters and setters. These are pretty standard topics that I have already covered in few previous videos, but uh, relating it with this web series is going to be the interesting part. This project will revolve around four characters. First character is one of the most famous character of this Mirzapur series is Kalin Bhaiya. So this is one character and this is Kalin Bhaiya. I think I should have done this video in Hindi. Let me know in the comments if you want the Hindi version of this, then I'll do that. So one character is Kalin Bhaiya and another important character is Guddu Bhaiya. So if you haven't already seen him, then let me quickly Google that. Guddu Bhaiya Mirzapur. So this character. This is another important character of this series. So yep, here we have it. And then we have Munna Tripathi, who is son of Kalin Bhaiya. So let me quickly Google him as well. Munna Tripathi Mirzapur. So this guy is Munna Tripathi, another interesting character in Mirzapur web series. And then finally, the last character that we have is Sharad Shukla. He is the Bahubali of Jaunpur, and these revolves around Mirzapur. So let me quickly Google Sharad Shukla Mirzapur. So yep, this character. This is another character that we'll be talking about in this video. Okay, so what all these characters have in common? They all are Bahubali. So the term Bahubali used throughout this web series Mirzapur refers to a guy who literally controls the city, the district. This is the guy responsible for all the illegal things happening and then all the violence happening and just controlling everything. So one of the guy in a city, we call them Bahubali. At least in this Mirzapur series, this is what they are referred. So then here we have a Bahubali, which is a common trait in all of the characters that is being listed. So what are the characteristics that a Bahubali can have? So a Bahubali should have physical power. Physical power is one of the property of Bahubali, and then the gun power. Gun power is another important characteristics of a Bahubali, and then we have war tactics. War tactics simply refers to the ability of handling a war. So yeah, that is war tactics. That's another important trait of a Bahubali. And then overall smartness, or you can say presence of mind. That is also very important if you are a Bahubali. So these four properties each Bahubali will have. Now how will be going to create a project with all these information? So the project is we'll create a class called Bahubali. Since Bahubali is common in all these four characters, so all these four characters will extend from this Bahubali class, and then we'll have a function that will give us who will win a fight. So what will happen if these two guys have a fight? So what happened if Munna Tripathi and Sharad Shukla fights? So who will win and with what margin, and all those things will be covered in this project. So this is going to be a very basic overview of what we'll be building in this project. So pause this video now and try to do it by yourself. And yeah, so we'll be using IntelliJ for this video for the IDE. So here we have, let's create a new project. Now name of the project will be Project Mirzapur. This is name of the project. Language will choose Java, and simply press on the create button and it will create the project for us. Okay, so here we have this main function that is present in any Java IDE. So the first thing that we have to do is we have to create a class called Bahubali. So okay, go to the src. Now if you want to create a new file or class, right click on this, go to new, and we have to create a Java class. Name of this class will be Bahubali. Okay, let me just zoom in a bit. Yep. So what are the traits that Bahubali have? So Bahubali can have physical power, gun power, war tactics, and overall smartness. These are the four properties that defines a Bahubali. Okay, so private. Okay, this is going to be an integer value. So private int physical power. Okay, now this integer value can range from 0 to 100. So 0 means no physical power, 100 means lot of physical power. So this value can range between 0 to 100. Then we have gun power. Again, this value will also range from 0 to 100. And then what we have is war tactics. So private int war tactics. And then finally what we have is overall smartness. So private int overall smartness. All these values will range from 0 to 100. So let's create the matching constructor. So to create a constructor, we have a shortcut, right click. We have to go to generate and constructor. We need all of this fields in order to create a constructor. So simply press on the OK button, and here we have it. Okay, so yep, that's how we have. One more thing that we have to make sure is any of the value cannot go beyond 100, or this value shouldn't be less than 0. So we need to have that safe logic. How do we do that? So what we have is, we'll create a new variable every time for each and every values that we have. So int, let's call it new physical power, and initially we won't initialize it. So if at any point physical power is less than 100, if this value is less than 100, then we'll assign new physical. Actually, we don't need this variable, so let's just get rid of it. So in that case, physical power is just 100, and else if physical power is less than 0, in that case physical power is 0. Okay, so what we just have done here is we have wrapped it that the value should only range from 0 to 100. So if at any point the physical power or any value is greater than 100, the value will be set to 100. If that value is less than 0, we will assign it 0. Now the new physical power, this value will always be 0 to 100. Okay, now we have 4 fields here. We have to write this boilerplate code every time for all the fields. We can also have, let's say, tens of fields. So we need to write this function or this piece of code 10 times, which is quite redundant, and that's not a good practice. So ideally we should create a function that does this for us, or a method that does this for us. So let's call this method private void. The name of the method will be set safe values. And what it takes that value that we need to make safe. So value, okay, this is going to be an integer value, int value. Now if at any point if value is greater than 100, in that case we'll set value to 100. Else if value is less than 0, in that case we'll set it to 0. Let's better to have not void. Void means this function won't return anything. Instead I want to return an integer value that will give us the safe value. So for that, let's create a variable val safe, not val, int safe value. Let's not initialize it here. So we will, if at any point value is greater than 100, safe value will be 100. If at any point value is less than 0, safe value will be 0. Else safe value is equals to value. That means this is between 0 to 100, and we just simply have to assign it. And finally I'll return safe value. This function pretty straightforward. Just make sure that the value should be 0 to 100. Now I don't need this. Instead, this dot physical power, I'll just call safe value and I'll pass physical power. And by this I just made sure that this dot physical power always have a safe value. Similarly, this dot gun power, okay, let me just copy and paste it. Here this is going to be gun power, this is going to be war tactics, and this is going to be overall smartness. So we're done with the constructor, and let's also create getters and setters. So shortcut that we have is generate getters and setters, and we need all 4 values, all 4 getters and setters. Okay, so here we have it. Now we are done with this class Bahubali, and the next thing that we have to do is we have to create all the characters that we have discussed of this series Mirzapur, that is Kalin Bhaiya, Guddu Pandit, Sharat Shukla and Munna Tripathi. So will we create individual classes for these characters or these Bahubalis. So go to this src, right click, new Java class, and let's create a class for Kalin Bhaiya. Okay, let me just zoom in a bit. Yep. Now this Kalin Bhaiya is a Bahubali, so it will inherit all the properties of a Bahubali. So extends Bahubali. So now it is saying error because we need to have matching constructor for this Kalin Bhaiya class. So if you have a class and you extend that class from some other class, so you will need to have a matching constructor for that. So just take your mouse over here and it will say create constructor matching super. Here you can add extra functionalities or extra fields, but right now it's fine because I don't need anything specific for this class. In my previous few videos, I have discussed this topic in detail. If you want to create a class and extends from another class and you want to have specific functionality in this class, then how you can do it, you can just go and check out my previous videos and you'll have a better understanding of that. So we are done with this class. Now let's create another class for Munna Tripathi. Okay, so right, extends, this is this class will also extend from the class Bahubali, and we'll also need a matching constructor. So that's it, we are done. Another class for Guddu Pandit. Okay, extends Bahubali, create matching constructor, and we are done. So next, new, finally what we have is Sharad Shukla. So let's zoom in a bit. Extends Bahubali, create matching constructor, just like this. Okay, so what we have done, we have created all the 4 class for our 4 characters or 4 Bahubali of this Mirzapur web series. Now let's go to the main function and let's try to create an instance of one of the character. So let's create a instance, or let's create an object of Kalin Bhaiya. So Kalin Bhaiya is equals to new Kalin Bhaiya, right? Okay, now here we need to pass all the 4 arguments of this class. So Kalin Bhaiya, now the first property that we have is the physical power. So out of 100, I would say Kalin Bhaiya has physical power of 65. I think out of 100, 65 is enough for the physical power of Kalin Bhaiya. Not a very big guy with a lot of physical strength at least. And the next property that we have is the gun power. Okay, Kalin Bhaiya do have a good gun power. So 85 will be a good number. So in case if you're wondering what is gun power, then gun power is how much a guy can do a damage if he have a gun. That is a gun power. And then the next property that we have is war tactics. So 95 for that. Kalin Bhaiya has a pretty good war tactics. And the next thing that we have is the overall smartness. So overall smartness is again 95. So if you have watched this this series called Mirzapur, then you'll know that this guy Kalin Bhaiya is very smart. He know when to do things, when not to do things, and he have very good war tactics. Gun power is also great, and physical power is decent. And then the next Bahubali that we have is Guddu Pandit. Guddu Pandit is equals to new Guddu Pandit, and we need to pass all the 4 arguments again. So physical power. So Guddu Pandit have a lot of physical power. So 95. And then the gun power. Gun power is, I would say 80 is fine. This value is going to be less than Kalin Bhaiya's gun power because he's been doing this for a very long time. And Guddu Pandit is just entered in the world of guns and all those things. So gun power is 80. And then the war tactics. War tactics is also 80. 80 is a decent number. So yep, overall smartness, I would say 45. Actually, this character is pretty dumb and he does make a lot of bad decisions and end up hurting himself, hurting his loved ones. So overall smartness is poor, 45. War tactics is 80, which is good. A lot of scenes in this web series where he have shown that he has a good war tactics. Okay, and the next value that we next Bahubali that we have is Munna Tripathi, who is son of Kalin Bhaiya. Munna Tripathi is equals to new Munna Tripathi, and the physical power is again 65. Not a big guy, not that much of physical power. And the gun power is 80. It is fine. You have pretty decent gun power. And war tactics. War tactics is 80 is decent marks, and overall smartness is 65. Not a very smart guy, but at least smarter than Guddu Pandit. So war tactics is similar than Guddu Pandit. Gun power is similar. Okay. You can play around with this number. I've just taken a random number with my common sense of how I interpreted the series. If you have done it differently, then you can give different numbers or different marks. And then finally what we have is Sharad Shukla, new Sharad Shukla, and physical power that we have is 70, at least more than Munna Tripathi in physical strength. Gun power is 65, I would say. So this guy this guy is not so great with the guns. War tactics is again 70 is pretty decent for this guy. And then finally overall smartness is 75. So this guy is at least smarter than Guddu Pandit and Munna Tripathi in overall smartness section. So like this we have created all the 4 Bahubalis. Now how will you get that which Bahubali have more strength than another? So we have 4 different marks, so there should be a mean value or an average marks that represents the overall strength of a particular Bahubali. How will we do that? So let's create a function in this Bahubali class that will give us the mean value of all the 4 fields. Okay, and this mean value or this average value will represent the strength of a particular Bahubali. So let's create that public int. This function will return an integer value, and let's get average score, or let's get average power. Okay, so int average power is equals to we'll add all the 4 values and then divide it by 4. So get gun power plus get physical power plus get overall smartness plus get war tactics. So get this number and divide it by 4. That's how we'll get the average of all the 4 values. So simply let's just return this number, and like this we'll have a single number representing each Bahubali. Okay, so let's get the average power of all these 4 Bahubalis. Okay, so let's print this. Kalin Bhaiya have. So let's get Kalin Bhaiya dot get of average, get average power. Similarly, let's get this for other Bahubalis as well. So this is Guddu Pandit. Now what we have is we have Munna Tripathi. And then finally we have Sharad Shukla. Now let's run this and see what are the numbers we have. Okay, I guess I can zoom it or not. Yep. Okay, so it printed hello world as well. We don't need that, ignore. Okay, so average value for Kalin Bhaiya is 85. For Guddu Pandit it is 75, for Munna Tripathi it is 70, and for Sharad Shukla it is 70. So the power equation of all the Bahubalis is Kalin Bhaiya is the strongest, and then Guddu Pandit, and then Munna Tripathi, and then Sharad Shukla. Sharad Shukla is the weakest, Kalin Bhaiya is the strongest. So you can argue on this. Again, you can have your own numbers and you can have different values. Okay, so how do we know that who wins the fight? So who have more average power simply wins the fight. So if there is the fight between Kalin Bhaiya and Guddu Pandit, obviously Kalin Bhaiya will win because he have extra power. Okay, so that's pretty straightforward. So whenever a fight happens, generally these fights are teamed up fights. Teamed up fights means uh, let's say Kalin Bhaiya and Munna Tripathi, they are together in a fight, and then Guddu Pandit and Sharad Shukla are together in a fight. They fight with each other but in a team. That's a pretty common scenario. So what I want you to do is, this is a homework for you. Just pause the video now and try to do it. That create a function that takes two teams and simply tells you that which team will win. Pretty straightforward. And pause the video now and try to do it by yourself. Okay, so I hope you did it. If not, then I'm here. Okay, so let's create a function, public void who wins. Who wins is the name of the function. So this function will take two teams. How you can pass team? You can simply pass list of Bahubali. So list of Bahubali can be considered as a team. So we have a list of Bahubali, and let's call this team 1, and then there is another team, another list of Bahubali, which is second argument, and this is team 2. Okay, so again we will get the average power of team 1 and we'll get the average power of team 2, and then we'll compare. So I've been doing a lot of coding in Kotlin lately. In Kotlin, this is how you initialize a variable, so I have that muscle memory. That's why I've been doing this. So int average power team 1. Initially this value is 0. Int average power for team 2, this value is 0 as well. So what we will do is we will iterate through the list or through the team, and we'll keep adding the power and we'll get the average power eventually. So we'll use for loop for this. So for Bahubali, we have to traverse through team 1 and we will add the average power. So average power for team 1 is equals to average power for team 1 plus Bahubali dot get average power. So what I've done is, it will traverse throughout this list, which is team 1, and it will keep adding the power, and once we are out of this for loop, we will have the average power of all the members in that team. Similarly, we have to do it for second team. So this is team 2, and this time we have to add the power in this variable, which is average power team 2. So if average power team 1 is greater than average power team 2, in that case we'll print team 1 wins. Else what will happen? Else team 2 wins. Okay, so we are done with this. Now let's call this function. So who wins? Okay, we cannot directly access any function in a static class. For that, what we have to do is we have to create another class So let's create a class, let's call it util. This class don't have any significance. We just have to shift this function, this method, to another class so that we can just access it. So copy this, cut this from here and paste it. So like this, we have a function wrapped in a class. Now we can access this function. How we can access this? We have to create a instance of this util class. So util is equals to new util, and now we should, okay, now you can see we can access this whowins function. So that's just why I've created this class. Okay, now let's create two teams. Well, okay, we have to create a list of bahubalis. So list of bahubali, and this is called team1 is equals to new array list. So let's add team1 dot add. This team will have Kaleen Bhaiya and Munna Tripathi. So this team will have these two guys, and similarly let's create another team or the list of bahubali, team2. So team2 dot add, and this team will have Kuddu Pandit and Sharad Shukla. According to the actual plot of this web series Mirzapur, Guddu Pandit and Sharad Shukla cannot be in the same team because they are enemies, but just for the sake of this video, let's have them in the same team against Tripathis. So we have two teams. Now let's compare. So util dot whowins, and we'll have to pass two teams, so team1 and team2. So okay, let me just comment this. We don't need this anymore. Now let's run this. Okay, it says team1 wins, and at the same time we are getting hello world. We don't need this. So here you can see it says team1 wins. So the team1 is team1 have Kaleen Bhaiya and Munna Tripathi. So let's change the team. So let's have a Kaleen Bhaiya and Sharad Shukla in one team, and Guddu Pandit and Munna Tripathi in another team. Now let's see what happens this time. Okay, so in this case again team1 wins. Okay, I'm not so sure how this time team1 wins. So to remove the confusion, let's also print the score of both the team. So we have average score team1 and then what we have is average score team2, like this. Similarly here as well, team2 wins. So let's run this and see what we have. Okay, so team1 have the average of 150, the addition of 2 average, because we have 2 members, 155, and team2 has 147, so team1 clearly wins. Now let's try to change the team members. So let's team up with this team have, okay, let's add one more member. So what will happen if this team have 3 members? So 3 members, let's add Munna Tripathi here as well and remove Munna Tripathi from here. Again, clearly this time team1 wins. Now let's have 3 member in team2. So first team will have Kaleen Bhaiya, solo guy, and then another team have Guddu Pandit, Sharad Shukla and Munna Tripathi. Let's run this. and this time you can see team 2 wins clearly. So you can play around with this number, because this number is the key of deciding that who is going to win a fight. So that's the simple demonstration of this project. So what's the point of creating this project? First of all, the point was, I've been getting a lot of questions that how, now you know inheritance, now you know constructors, you know greater than setters, how do you implement this? So the point is, you can see anything around and you'll get probably one or two examples where you can implement all those things. You can assemble everything and you can create a very simple project out of it. So that's the whole point of this video. Okay, one more thing that I want to make sure is that let's go to the Bahubali class. Now what will happen if user sets a value that is beyond 100 or less than 0? It sets the value to 100. It's just a safe call. Now what if you don't want to this? What if you want to throw an error, that this error says you cannot have a value more than 100? How do you do that? So for that, instead of setting the safe value to 100, you have to throw a runtime exception. So what you do is you simply throw new runtime exception, and what this exception says, this exception says value must be less than 100. And what happens if it is less than 0? In that case, you simply say value must be greater than 0, and don't need this. Okay, now back to the main function. Now here let's give physical power as -1. So this is less than 0, so what will happen? Okay, so here you can see we have an error, and this error says value must be greater than 0. So if at any point you don't want to run the application, you are creating any application, and if user sets a wrong value, you must throw an exception in that point. So that's how you do it. And it also says at what line the problem is. So here you can see we have this Kalin Bhaiya line number okay, not here, main.java line number 8. So this is the line number 8, and here we have it. Now if let's just change the value, and let's have the war tactics to 112. Run this and we'll have the error again, value must be less than 0. So this time the error comes from line number 10. This is the okay. So this is the application that we have built in this video. So if this video gets 1000 likes, then I'll be creating the second part of this video, that is we'll be considering Mirzapur as a reference, and we'll have more complex functionalities, and we'll introduce more characters only if this video gets 1000 likes. So yeah, that's all about this video, and hope to see you in the next video.